Hello, it's Noah Nerd, and in this video I'll talk a little bit about how I resurrected an old project from 3 years ago and talk about that code and talk about using Three.js with React, which is something I'm new to doing. Three.js, if you're not aware of, is a WebGL JavaScript library. It's very good, very useful. I've used it a lot in the past for different things, like the landing page project I did, which you can also see on my channel if you'd search. But yeah, without further ado, here's a quick video of what it looks like, and also I'm going to do a code overview. This project's still work in progress, so it's not finished, but I thought I'd give a sort of overview of how I've been using Three.js and React. Just some thoughts on it. So yeah, watch. Okay, so onwards with the code overview for this work in progress project. So this is basically a project I picked up, which I was actually working on a few years ago and just never really managed to finish it off. So I just found out my GitHub repo and decided I'd have an attempt at doing that. So how I do this project is that user types in some text just into an input form and clicks transform, and then it transforms it into 3D text. So we've got that partially working now with some things that still need working on. So this is how I did it. So this is using Three.js and React. So this is the first time I've tried using Three.js with React, so it's still a learning curve for me. So what we're using here, we're using obviously React, imported in everything from the Three.js library. Using Lodash as well because there's some array manipulation I was doing. I think I had a sort of idea of doing feeding in data, just a JSON, but I don't really not really done that eventually. And then I'm using React Strap as well, just for some styling elements. So this is the code as it stands. It's just one page thing, so I could probably do with dividing this into components, but below app.js, but at the minute it's just done it as a one page thing. So the actual what you see on the screen is here. I've got a container. We'll go through the easy parts first, I suppose. So we've got a container, header, just with what it is. Container fluid, which a bootstrap is just a fluid container for the content, row with margin of 4. And then we've got a form here, which just ends there, which has two functions. So on submit, it runs this function called return letters, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it's also got an on change for this input form, which is default value is this state word. And then I've got just another confirmation of what the state word's been transformed to for user input there to the state word. So what states have we got? Just word and an empty array initially in the constructor. So word's just an empty string first, data is just an empty array. Like I said, I didn't really use data, I haven't really used it for anything yet, but I guess you could use it. Maybe if you wanted to expand on this, like, I don't know, something like upload any body of text and it'll convert it to 3D or something, but I can't really see that many use cases for this. I mean, this is more mental exercise, if anything, even for me anyway. Okay, so that's that. Now let's look at some of the Three.js stuff and I'll talk a bit about that and what's going on there. And I don't fully understand everything, but I'll talk about what I do understand. So we've got some variables defined here just above the class app. So I've set that. You can set that the height to be the same size as the window, but I decided to set it to 700. And then I've set the width to the inner width of the window it's in, which makes it full width basically. Var scene just creates a new Three.js scene, which is where we'll be placing all our lights, camera, models, etc. Camera, free perspective camera, this just creates a new camera. Passing field of view says it all there, so probably pasted this code. It was a long time ago, I wrote it actually like 3 years ago. So that's what that's doing. Set the position. So that's just setting I think it's X, Y and Z. So what is the position of the camera? Camera look at. Makes it look at the scene. So it's saying look at the scene position. So this. And add the camera to the scene. So scene.add camera adds the camera to the scene. Light just adds some lights. I mean, I don't know if I need to go over that too much. It's the color of the light. That's the position of the light. That adds it to the light. So you can see how it sort of makes sense. Then we need the renderer, WebGL renderer here. Set the size, so it sets it's the same size of these variables that we defined here. And then it renders it to the DOM. Okay, let's just go down a bit with some more stuff here. These are the bindings for the functions I'm using. So binding it to this keyword. Component demand, I'm probably going to add something in there, I think, because at the minute the app sort of doesn't fully work as I want it, because you can basically, as soon as you've done one 3D word, there's no way that it's being deleted. So obviously that's something I need to work. So I'm thinking I probably need to do something in component demand and probably somehow have the actual mesh for the text somehow stored in state. I'm not exactly sure how to do it at the minute, but let's have a look. So we've got here, let's have a look at some of these functions. This handle change, so it's on change event. So that's when the text changes. Basically, and it's something you'll probably have seen a million times if you're familiar with React. Handle change the event, set the state to the event target value, which is a fairly common thing you'll write in React. It's just saying when an event is detected, detects the target value of that HTML or JSX element, and then set word to that value essentially. So that's that, nothing too complicated. And then we've also got return letters. So on a submit event for the form, so when the form is submitted, what does it do then? So it does this. So first it prevents default event again, really. Var data stores a variable of raw data called, which is this state.word, and then also store a variable data length, which is that variable's length. And then can't remember exactly why I was doing this, but I chunk it, so the raw data and the raw data length. So take this, chunk it by that, chunk it, which I think basically means split it, make everything, split it, get every letter of the so if I put in like hello, it would be HELLO, it would split all those into individual characters. And then I think this is more for my debugging. And then I've set a state return letters. Actually I need to look at that because I have no state of letters. So that's pretty much in progress at the minute. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with that. But the real meat of the actual thing is this create text raw data. So I've got the variable here, it's been set to a word, and then create text, I pass in raw data information, and this is the function here, which is the main real functionality of the app really. Create text, pass it in word, which is raw data. So just whatever's passed in is the raw data. And then this is really annoying actually. So this took me a while to get my head around. So basically with Three.js you have to load in, with creating a text geometry object, you have to load in a font using font loader first, so you can't just do var geometry, new text geometry and all this object. You have to actually do it this way, so you have to do, first you have to load in a font loader, then you have to find a, you have to load in a font with type JSON. So put that in. I also had to put it in the public folder, I think, for it to work. I had some trouble with it. So we've got our fonts here, a few of them as JSON. So load. Just one of the. It's the one I went for eventually. That one, regular JSON, Balu, Paju, 2 regular JSON. You have to go onto a site to convert them. It's all sort of explained on the Three.js documentation, but I got a bit mixed up with that for a while. And then we're just passing in some values like the font, which is this. So this is the font it uses, the size, the height, and some other settings like bevel size, how thick are the letters, how big, etc, etc. This adds bounding box. I don't think that's really required, but I just added it in anyway. Text material is like the material of the 3D object, so I've just added colour. It's just like a yellow in a minute. Then we want to add into variable, create a new mesh with, which is this, so that creating a new mesh creates this geometry and then with this material. So that's basically what's happening there. Position it, so you can do that to whatever you want really. You add shadows, and then scene add mesh. Now where this code falls down at the minute is what should really be happening is there should be a instance of whatever the last word that was loaded in somehow stored, and it should be removed, or the scene should be cleared. So I've not done that yet, but basically the scene should be cleared and then it should add a new mesh, because otherwise you get you could have they just overlap all these. It keeps on adding this geometry without actually removing anything. Something I've done before, but I've not really done it on this code piece yet. Then the other thing to bear in mind is you've got the renderer. So whenever a render function is called, it re-renders basically the scene in the camera. I think that's enough of a quick overview. So I'm still getting used to using Three.js with React. I've used Three.js and Stack HTML sites before, but not really on React. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to expand on this. This is not a finished project, it's just a sort of in progress one. That's been a bit interesting. I hope there's been some sort of insight there into how to use Three.js with React. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Yeah, that'd be no one heard. Thanks.